America's back. Are we now? I did a little search recently at whitehouse.gov. Let's see what I found. So we come over here and hit the drop down menu. I don't have a touch screen. That brings us to administration, where you have names. We have issues. We have history. We have news. Okay, so let's go over to presidential actions. That takes us to executive orders. Come on. I'm trying to do it left-handed, folks. Okay, I gotta switch. Executive orders. President Donald Trump. So let's scroll down to March 25th. It was a quiet day. It'll be on page 2. So, let's look at protecting America's bank account, and we're more concerned with modernizing payments to and from America's bank. You're going to like this. Presidential actions, modernizing payments to and from America's bank. Executive order, March 25th, 2025. You know how Trump likes to make a big, beautiful, the biggest ever production of most executive orders that he signs. Likes to hold them up with his signature and have lots of props in the rooms supporting whatever the EO is about. I mean, that's every president does that, so we expect that. But we didn't hear about this one. By the authority vested in me as the president, by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, it is hereby ordered, Section 1, purpose, the continued use of paper-based payments, including checks and money orders. Okay, that would be known as the dollar. But they impose unnecessary costs, delays, and risk of fraud, lost payments, theft, and inefficiencies. During the COVID scam, there were substantial increases in mail theft. Weird. So this order is going to promote operational efficiency by mandating the transition to electronic payments for all federal disbursements and receipts by digitizing payments to the extent permissible under applicable law, but not for avoidance of debt, to establish a central bank digital currency. Okay, now he says, but not for avoidance of doubt. That doesn't mean it ain't happening. It just means that he won't call it a central bank. All right. It's the policy of the United States to defend against financial fraud, improper payments, blah, 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 blah. Phase out paper checks and disbursements. Vendor payments, tax refunds, benefits payments. Okay, so let's pause for a moment. Good morning, everybody. JT here, Serenity Farms, prepping. It is bright and early, but I discovered this a couple days ago, and It's literally proof on the White House's own website that what I have been saying about Trump going to institute a digital currency, which will mean biometric IDs, a total trace, track, and control system. Not the beast system, that'll come later. So, right now they're phrasing this as all executive departments and agencies shall comply with this directive by transitioning to EFT methods, including direct deposit, prepaid card accounts, and other digital payment options, and will take all steps necessary to enroll recipients in EFT payments as soon as possible and to the extent permitted by law. All payments made to the federal government shall be processed electronically. Now, we all agree that there has, and still is, massive corruption, fraud, literal crimes against you and I, aka the taxpayer, committed by virtually everyone in government. Okay? There are plenty, millions of Americans that are sucking the government, not the government, the taxpayer teat, committing crimes by collecting all sorts of free shit they're not supposed to be. We know it happens. We all know people who are doing it, and not just under a name. When I was working in the prison system, we had a guy on my unit, an inmate, a convicted criminal felon, that was collecting Social Security checks under 52 different names. He had 8 children and 3 baby mamas, and they were all getting it as well. Did you know, as an aside, that convicted scumbag felons who are eligible age-wise to collect Social Security can still collect it even while they are incarcerated for their crimes? They can't keep it in their account at the facility because we have a limit to prevent extortion and payoffs and all that good. Okay. But nonetheless, a convicted felon gets to collect Social Security, retirement, or disability while they're still incarcerated. There's some flaws in the system. Now, the Secretary of State, the Secretary of Treasury, Health and Human Services, Education, Veterans Affairs, Homeland Security, blah, blah, they shall all take appropriate action to eliminate the need for the Department of the Treasury's physical lockbox services and expedite requirements to receive the payment of federal receipts, including fees, fines, loans, and taxes, through electronic means. And all of these, that was D, B, C, A, they're all stating, except as specified in Section 4, which we get to. So make no mistake, direct deposits, debit and credit cards, digital wallets, real-time payment systems, other modern electronic payment options will all support the Secretary of Treasury's agency's transition to digital payment methods, including by providing access through the Department of Treasury's centralized payment system. Here's Section 4. Let's read it together. Section 4. Exceptions and accommodations for the phase-out of paper checks, disbursements, and receipts. The Secretary of the Treasury shall review and, as appropriate, revise procedures for granting limited exceptions where electronic payment and collection methods are not feasible, including exceptions for individuals who do not have access to banking services or electronic payment systems. Can you think of anyone? Certain emergency payments where electronic disbursement would cause undue hardship. Okay, I can see that one in the case of like man-made weather, tornadoes, floods, hurricanes, earthquakes. National security or law enforcement related activities where non-EFT transactions are necessary or desirable, and other circumstances as determined by the Secretary of Treasury as reflected in regulations or other guidance. Now, up here, national security and law enforcement related activities could be in operational stings of drugs or child trafficking or weapons laundering, where criminals are likely going to want to deal in cash for as long as they can. And anybody who's trying to buy 45 boxes of AK-47s using some Bitcoin, that might not fly right now. So we'll see. Section 5. Implementation of compliance of electronic transactions. Secretary of Treasury, in coordination with the heads of agencies, shall develop and implement a comprehensive public awareness campaign to inform federal payment receipts of the transition to electronic payments, including guidance on accessing and setting up digital payment options. Agencies that coordinate with the department to facilitate a smooth transition to digital payments, ensuring that affected individuals and entities receive adequate support. The Secretary of Treasury shall work with financial institutions, aka banks and credit unions, consumer groups, and stakeholders to address financial access for unbanked and underbanked populations. Here comes the information part. They will take all necessary steps to protect classified informations and systems, as well as personally identifiable information, which will be known heretofore as your social credit score. Tax return information. Ooh, interesting. So the rest of it starts to get where they got 90 days and they got 180 days to get this going, but it is expected to take place in September. And there you have it. So, I have warned repeatedly, ad nauseum even, that the reason that Trump has welcomed in evil AI billionaire BFFs into the White House and promised them $500 billion of taxpayer money is Doge are exposing corruption, crimes, grift, the stealing of trillions from us over the decades. They're not going to recover the majority of that money. Most of that is long gone. They will recover some. The amount remains to be seen, but Trump needs that amount because UBIs are going to factor heavily into this new central bank digital currency total track, trace, and control system Trump is implementing in September. September. So Larry Ellison, the evil Oracle AI, we need to get everyone's DNA and put a chip in you that will prevent cancer, with the cancer being known as you will not buy, sell, or trade with any cash, in my opinion. Over the past few years, Ellison has been constructing 10 500,000 square foot each data collection centers. That's weird. Musk and the Doges are currently collecting data from all of us. Before you get all wacky on it, we have all willingly and sometimes gleefully put that private personal information out there. Now, yes, the system has been created over the years where we can literally almost do nothing without providing personal information that we never should have. Social Security numbers should be used for nothing except when you get of age to collect Social Security. It was never designed to be listed on every form you sign. That's probably changing. All right, so while the corruption, the grift, the crimes, blah, 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 USAID and every other NGO and everything, Social Security fraud, all that stuff is being exposed, it's to try and recoup whatever dollars they can for the coming collapse and collection data, in my opinion. I mean, let's face it, it wasn't hard. So that data, if NSA doesn't have it, it's going to all those data collection centers in Texas, which brags about being the freest, most patriotic state in the nation, yet they've got several wackadoodle libtard cities like Austin, Houston, and Dallas. There's a 400-acre Muslim Sharia law city being built in the heart of Texas, and Texas is doing nothing about it. And they're allowing these data collection centers to be erected. Do you know how much energy those things use? That factors into the social credit scores, which you saw under other words and phrases, that Texas has gone about 70% solar and windmill for some reason, being the freest state with millions of gallons of oil right under their feet, but yet it drops below 30 degrees and Texas starts to collapse. Okay, here nor there. What I'm getting at is those data control centers, they need their own nuclear power plant just to run that. Where is all that energy coming from? The same place, the rest of the United States. We're all going to be monitored by smart meters, which can be turned on and off, and excess energy is going to be sent to those controlling, well, nobody's in control of AI anymore, but point being, it uses massive energy. All right, so back to my original reason for this video. I've warned repeatedly that the economy was going to collapse. Whether Trump is responsible for any of it, we know it's been set up for decades to eventually collapse, because as America goes, so does the rest of the world. Now, some will say, well, Trump and the tariffs, they're doing good, and the U.S. will be solvent again. We'll have some manufacturing. We'll have jobs. We'll have money. Blah, blah, blah. Maybe. But maybe it's all just a way to bring in as much money as possible by all these companies who are supposedly investing hundreds of millions, even billions of dollars, when it's pretty clear there isn't going to be any dollars after September. Now, this executive order refers only to federal disbursements, taxes, checks. Well, the federal government is currently the largest employer. So there's lots of federal disbursements. Anyone on SSI, SSDI, Medicare, Medicaid, any of those programs, that's all federal. Now, people on SSI or SSDI and Medicare, Medicaid, your paychecks are automatically put into your account now anyway. The use of paper checks for all that stuff does have issues of getting lost, getting stolen, being slow, where putting those into your accounts electronically is way more cost efficient and safer and more secure. Okay, I'm a retired state employee. My state check is automatically put into my account. I had no option to get a paper check. I have no option to choose when I get my paycheck. It is what it is. For those on SSI or SSDI, SSI gets their check the third Wednesday of every month. SSD gets their check the fourth Wednesday of every month. And state employees, city, village, county, municipal, blah, 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 we all get our state retirement checks on the last business day of every month. Now, I got no problem with all of those being electronically put into our accounts because it's faster, quicker, safer, and more efficient. The problem I have is, as of September, all the federal disbursements, payments, gratuities, whatever you want to call them, you're not going to be able to withdraw them as dollars. So there's no executive order yet where it shows how that's going to work. So I imagine for a short period of time, we will be allowed to draw out of our own damn bank and checking accounts in dollar denominations. But very, very shortly, due to safety and security, as everything is phrased, all businesses will be given a voluntary period to switch to digital debit credit card only purchases and refunds. Did you ever notice that if you have to go somewhere like Lowe's the other day, I bought something, it didn't work, but I brought it back, and they don't credit you cash. They credit you towards an account if you have a Lowe's credit card. So you would likely gave them cash when you bought the thing, but they don't give you cash back when you return something. You see how that works? Well, pretty soon, every business around will only accept debit or credit. As it is now, almost all places you go that have tipping, the tip has been made mandatory. And it's already built into your bill. Why? What if my service was pathetic and the person deserves no tip? Okay, that's all mandated, and Trump has no tax on tips. So, come September, all federal in and out is going to go digital, which means every federal agency will be, and anything associated with them. The economy is going to collapse. There's no doubt about it. I think Trump is actually ushering it in. Part of me thinks it's good because he's exposing the utter corruption, like the stock market. 10% of the people control 90% of the market. Fuzzy. Okay? Just like 6 companies control all the food, and Big Pharma controls all your health and medical. So, the economy's going to collapse. Trump is maybe trying to soften the blow because he can't stop it. He doesn't even want to. I posted earlier that he made a statement. He is collapsing it. Now, he looks at it or phrases it as a good thing, which, if everything is on the up and up, it is a good thing. It will take control back from the people who have been controlling us. But unfortunately, I think it's giving control to one entity: Trump and the government. So a UBI is going to have to come in because there are going to be hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people who lose their job when the collapse happens. Yes, there are likely other jobs that will be created, but they're not going to be compensatory. For TARDs, that means if you lose 100 and gain 50, that is not equal compensation. That's not very equitable. Okay, so the UBI will be, I think I mentioned this before, 3 different categories, which they have yet to determine what the salary ranges for that will be. But as mentioned, they use some cute wording to show you that much of your social activity, and they're defining what social is, will determine financial issues. That's a social credit score. No matter how you want to slice and dice and make it cutesy. No. So there's going to be a UBI because they got to keep the masses from rioting, looting, assaulting, burning, blah, blah, blah. But it's going to be for everybody except the uber richies. There'll be a social credit score, which will be on everyone. How that's going to affect your UBI remains to be seen. And there's a digital currency. I will make another video later, like I did a couple years ago, about how refusing to join the central bank digital currency beast system is a little bit different than the mark of the beast system, but it's leading to it. Because we'll all be given a grace period of a year or 2 before they say, would you like something? You know, for safety and security of your health information and all your personal information. And no one can steal it this way unless they cut your hand off. And yeah. But anyway, you know, with my state check, that's been automatically deposited for 14 years already. But as of right now, I can still draw it out in useless dollar bills. That's likely ending, but that's a different story. So I just wanted to get that out there. There is at whitehouse.gov executive orders showing the implementation of a central bank digital currency system coming in September per order of the self-anointed savior, Trump. That's all I got for now. JT, signing out.